I always find it fascinating when speaking to people. What I find fascinating in regards to the conversation of how much control do we have in our lives, over our lives. There's two camps, and these two camps are the most exaggerated in my interactions with people. There's a third camp, which hopefully we will speak about. The first camp says we have no control over our lives, and because we don't have no control, Shalom Yisrael, everything is left up to fate. And then there's another tzad that says, no, there's full control, and I have full control over my life. And what I see as people grow from these positions of thinking is a lot of the time, both parties get hurt. Both parties end up getting hurt. One party who believes there's no control, so they become a victim of their surroundings. They become a victim of the way that they live their life. And the ones who believe, I have full control, they end up being hurt. If you don't feel good with themselves. There is a third place, a third position, and this is the position that most people, I believe, should live with. This is based on the Heilige Ropshitzer and many others. And that is that there are areas of our lives where we for sure do have control. And one of those areas is we can, if we try, we can have a relationship with a big percentage of our thinking. What does that look like? So when you believe that you have an element of control over your life, you live completely differently. Usually people who believe they have a control over the certain areas of their life, their thinking, they're happier, they're more resilient, they're more creative. So for example, as the Biala Rebbe once said to a person who just lost somebody they loved, the Rebbe said, I'm with you. You can't bring back the person who died. But what I do believe is your thinking about it and your decisions will influence the way you deal with it. And you're more likely to find remedies in lifting yourself up. And for so many people, hope is lost because they forget that they can have a relationship with their thinking. And they can transmutate their thinking with practice. When a person allows to let go where they need to let go of controlled areas of their lives which are unhealthy, and they can come to a place where they can become more present and they can choose either to let go of an unhealthy way of control, or if a person thinks they have no control and they can come and meet a particular point where they can say, I can have some control over this. It is a practice, but it changes our life forever. It changes the way we directly influence events. It changes the way we directly connect to events. And we live differently. We explore life differently. We come to this balance point where I realize, okay, I can't change the way other people think. I can't change the weather. I can't change the fact that people are born and people die. I can change the way I relate to it in my thinking. And as we mentioned in our last message, the more we can become centered and I can observe my thinking, I could then be beicha. Okay, this is what's happening in front of me now. Let me get into a taste of das. Let me center myself. Let me ground myself and center myself, get into a state of das. I have these thoughts coming up. Do I want to choose to explore them or ignore them? I've got a reality in front of me right now. How do I want to relate to it? And then you could be beicha. You could be beicha. You can choose. I have bechira. I can take an element of control. And what that element of control is, I can take control to a certain degree of my thinking. How I'm relating to something. How I'm reacting to something. I could take control in regards to how I'm evaluating to something to a certain degree. When a person's going through whatever they're going through, I can choose to speak to somebody, to hear what they have to say. So our Avodah until the next message is to center yourself, to get into a state of das, and be aware of where I am right now. Be aware of where I am right now. Is this a space where I have to let go, and then I can use and choose my bechira? I'm going to let go now. I don't have control over this. I can let go. I'm going to relate to it differently. Or is it a place where I potentially can have control? And I can say, okay, I'm going to center myself, get into a space of das, and I'm going to entertain a reality where I can ask the person a question. I can relate to the person. I don't need to back down. And I don't need to hide myself. I'm going to say something. Or I'm going to choose and stand up and be of service in this present moment. How many times do we have a thought that says, oh, no, I can't ask that question, it's embarrassing, or no, I can't, rejection, whatever it may be, it's all thinking. I could choose to ignore or explore my thinking. And in a place, and I hear this so many times, people, they won't do something because of the thinking that they are experiencing, that they're going to be rejected or pushed back. And okay, person's rejected, fine, no. Person's pushed back, no, okay, and there. Every single person has a light within them that the world is waiting to experience. And instead of allowing our thinking to rule us in an unhealthy way, in a way that is going to hide that light, cover up that light, choose to be present. Choose to witness where you are within your surroundings in the present moment, and then use your bechira and choose to give of yourself in a healthy way. So the takeaway until the next message is bechira. Whatever's going on inside your thinking, if you want to go with it, go with it. And if you choose to do something different than your thinking, do that as well. Because you can. You can. If you believe that you do have a control, a relationship with your life, that you can define your life, you can choose to explore and experience your life the way that you want, you end up happier. You end up more resilient, more creative. When you could turn, as we said, every frustration into a fascination, where you could turn every nisayon into a nasiya. You can do that. And as I remember when speaking to the Biala Rebbe, my father was speaking to the Biala Rebbe, and the Rebbe said to my father, he says, there's no problems. Everything is a challenge to overcome, and we'll overcome it together. Bracha, mazel, and hatzlacha.